Greetings and salutations. Also, Happy New Year. I didn't actually have plans to make any videos this January, but it so happens I feel like making a video. Today I'm going to talk about Will Byer's coming out scene in season 5 of Stranger Things. Stranger Things, when it first came out, the first season, I really loved it. I mean, I even have, don't worry, I'm not going to strip. I have this t-shirt of Stranger Things. This one is from season 4. I loved it when it first came out. I thought it, had a very solid Stephen King vibe to it, and I love Stephen King novels, and Stranger Things felt like that in many ways. Very much like it. It resembles it in many ways. Also, the 80s throwback. Love that, even though it's sort of an 80s throwback that is seen from a very modern perspective. It's not exactly like 80s, but it's good. It's good. And for me, the first 2 seasons are still the best. I also really liked season 4 because I thought they really made the villain of that season, Vecna, quite menacing. And I was really excited about season 5 when it first came out, because I thought the ending of season 4 was actually quite promising. And the reason why I wish to start this video with talking about the quality of season 5 is because even though I want to talk specifically about Will's coming out scene, I think we shouldn't let it overshadow the overall criticism of season 5, something I think season 5 absolutely deserves. So it's not just about this one gay scene or something like that. No, for me, the big issue with season 5 as a whole is I don't think it quite delivered on the promises it established with season 4. And one of those issues for me specifically is how, the very ending of season 4, it ends with the upside down dimension leaking into Hawkins, into our reality. And what I was thinking what's coming is season 5, where the regular normal Hawkins also becomes upside down, and all of the citizens of Hawkins are aware of that because, well, they now live in that reality, right? So it becomes sort of a very, very oppressive thing, and we didn't have any of that. Hawkins is like, sure, it's back to normal. There's just military folks around, stuff like that. But what happened, to all those flowers rotting, all the nature disappearing, everything becoming upside down? I turned on the first episode and they just live a normal life like nothing happened. Going to the bathroom and shit, Yeah, little shit. Because why else do you go to the bathroom? Well, there are plenty of reasons, but oh, that's a delicious tea. Seriously, just black tea, no lemon, no sugar. That's the best shit. Another huge issue I had with season 5 is basically it completely abandoned the whole Russian plotline. And some people didn't like the Russian plotline. Personally, I thought that Hopper being in a gulag at Kamchatka was the best plotline of season 4. It's the part I liked the most personally. They established the Russian plotline in season 3 and built up upon it in season 4, and it went nowhere. And I think, there are many examples with plotlines that were forgotten or went nowhere, and yeah, we're just supposed to ignore that, right? And that bothers me. That bothers me. And let's be real, this bothers me way more than the whole big deal they made about Will's coming out scene. Because it's not a big deal, really. I think people are making it seem way too big because, you know, people are obsessed with wokeness and stuff like that. And it's really obscures our view of genuine criticism this show deserves. That being said, I also want to talk about what was it like for me as a queer person attracted to men to watch that particular scene of Billy Dilly here coming out as gay. First and foremost, and let's just get it out of the way immediately, I really thought the scene was kind of cringe. There was definitely a cringe aspect to it, but at the same time it's also quite realistic because, you know, when people come out in real life and well, yeah, I had those experiences, obviously. It can be cringe, actually, you know, but it's sort of cringe that is best not shown on camera, to be honest. I think it's something that feels best when it's private, because if I was to, you know, watch my own coming out from an outside perspective, I'd be cringing at that, and I think it's understandable. You know, this scene is kind of conflicting for me, because on one hand, you know, as a fellow gay or androsexual person, I'd say I feel, you know, some sympathy for Will in that situation, obviously. I even think there's an element of that whole scene that's kind of touching. But I also thought it was unnecessarily long, especially considering it's the penultimate episode that is supposed to establish a lot of tension. But I don't think that there was much tension in that episode, to be honest. I thought both episode 6 and episode 8, as flawed as they were honestly more engaging in many ways. So so if I had anything to say about that coming out scene, I think it felt really weird and awkward, mostly because it was treated as this big announcement, you know, like everyone gathered around and Will was like, you know, I'm gonna tell everyone, and it's like, you know, it comes weird coming from someone who's basically announced their detrans status to like 200,000 people on the internet. But I think, you know, sometimes it's not necessary, and I think this situation is a perfect example of that, where Will should have just come out to his mom, his brother, his closest friends, Lucas, Dustin, and Mike, perhaps Robin. You know, because yeah, Robin played a big role to help Will come to terms with his sexual orientation. So I think she should be there. But everyone else, it's like, well, it's not their business, really. It's not. And I think this is the element that made the scene very awkward. Another comment I have, considering it takes place in the 80s, you know, in the middle of AIDS epidemic, and you know, guys were pretty much fighting for their rights at the time. It was a rocky time period for gays in general. The thing is, okay, I get it, you know, it's a show made in 2025, and so what comes with that is, you know, modern perception, and modern perception is like, well, we're accepting of almost everything, right? But I just don't think it necessarily reflects the time period. And, you know, I get it, if there were reactions like, "You goddamn fag," I hope you die of AIDS. You're a filthy animal.
You filthy animal.
Netflix would probably get into trouble. And so I think it creates this very, very unrealistic vision of what that might look like. And I think, sure, I do think his closest friends would probably accept it. Because they just seem like those types, But at the same time, I was like looking at Murray and thinking, like, what is he thinking in his head right now? Because, like, okay, either he's like cool with it, or maybe he's like super homophobic, or maybe he's thinking like, why the fuck am I here? Why the fuck am I here? Why am I listening to this? 'Cause that's a very likely scenario. I think it's the most likely scenario. But it goes further than that, because I think it could succeed at two things, right? It could either succeed at presenting a realistic issue with homophobia in that time period, or it could technically create an innovative gay storyline in 2025. But what actually happens is it fails at both. Because, and it's not just me, I have met many queer people who have also expressed this view that coming out stories are sort of an overused trope for gay characters. Because, for a very, very long time, if there is any show or film with a gay character, the story a lot of the time was that of coming out. It's a horse that's been beaten over and over again, a dead horse. And there's just not much more you can do with it. I want I want to see gay characters. I mean, it's not like I want to. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't care about that stuff at all. But sure, if there's a gay character, I'd rather have them have a better story than coming out. Give them something bad to do. I want to see characters that already accept themselves, because I get it. For a very long time, this trope was kind of used to help people who watch it, who might also have those same feelings, accept themselves, help them come out, blah, 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 blah. But I just think it's not that necessary these days, because we have already achieved that in many ways. I think it's genuinely easy to be out as a gay person compared to what it was like when I was, especially when I was living in Poland 20 years ago-ish. That would have been a nightmare, but I think in a Western society today, it's very easy to be out as a gay person. And another thing I have is where, gay people exist in TV shows only like a small mention. And I think Doctor Who has been a perfect example of that, where, there's some character, very minor character, appears in one episode, that's super generic, and then, just like randomly mention, yeah, I'm gay, or some guy mentions my husband, or something like that. And it's like, that mention is only there to show like, oh hey, look, here's a queer character. Are you happy now? Hey? I think we deserve something better than that. Is it just me? Is it just me who thinks like, this is like, yeah, like they treat LGBT community as this group that just demands that to be gay characters or trans characters or whatever, and then just like, yeah, here, see, this is a small mention. We don't change anything about the characters, but like, yeah, let's just put it out there. That's another thing I have had issues with, and I don't know about the Duffer Brothers as creators. From the way I see it, and the kind of people they hired the actors for this show, especially with Gaten Matarazzo having this bone illness. I don't remember the names for. They seem like very open-minded guys, by all means. They're probably very liberal, very progressive. But I think a lot of shows these days, they're made with an expectation that there should be a queer character. And I'm not a big fan of that. Let me tell you why. It's largely because if you have this expectational policy, like, hey, if you want to make a show, whether on Netflix, HBO, whatever, you just need to have like these queer characters, and I think it's disgenuine, because I think the only instances where people should be creating stories of any kind, no matter whether it's a book, a film, show, game, whatever. If the stories are to have queer characters, I think it should be done only when the authors and the creators feel a genuine need to do that, So let's allow actual queer people to create queer characters, so they know how to do that. And perhaps some creators take advice from LGBT community on that or something like that. But I just think it's still disgenuine. It's like, create those characters when you care about it, or even better. For me, I have written quite many stories. I never published any. Working on a book of very, very different sort right now. But I do want to publish a novel at some point, and I would love to make a film, an independent film at some point. And those stories that exist in my head that I want to make, right? Some of them don't have any queer characters. One of them has a gay couple, and what I like to do is let the characters come to life naturally. And it's just like, I don't sit there making those decisions like, you know what, I want to make a gay character. No, I think it's just, it needs to come naturally, be born from there, on an instinctual level almost. It's sort of like, with falling in love, you can't force that. And so that's why, for me, a lot of the time, these situations where we have gay characters, I automatically often think it's so artificial. Because it's like every goddamn show these days have some gay characters. Technically nothing wrong with that, but like, it's super artificial. It's super artificial. Like, why does every single show need a gay character? They really, really don't. Going back to Stranger Things, personally, I thought that the conversations between Will and Robin were done much better. I also thought that Robin's coming out scene in season 3 was more impactful, because it wasn't meant to be so dramatic. Because it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It's, I get it why it is, but it's like, either, if you're gonna make it dramatic, considering the historical setting, make it realistic for that historical setting. And if you want to make it realistic for today's standards, then don't make it dramatic whatsoever. I think Robin's coming out story in season 3 hit that sweet spot, which I just didn't think happened with Will. It was more of a, well, shit, one queer character's not enough, we need one more. Because the more the merrier. But no matter what you think about that particular scene, I still think that season 5 as a whole was a disappointment. I would even say a disaster at points. When I'm watching it, I found myself reading articles on my phone more often than I was looking at a screen. It was something in the background because it just didn't catch my attention as a fan who has been watching this show since day one. Like, I think the horror element of Stranger Things, even though it was never like in your face intense horror by any means, but I think that element is completely gone in season 5. Upside Down just doesn't feel like a threat of any sorts. I think they nerfed Vecna or Henry in many ways, and I want to end this video with actually making a very, very different recommendations, and probably you've heard of it, maybe you've watched it, but if you like the early seasons of Stranger Things, I would recommend watching It, Welcome to Derry. It's a prequel show to Stephen King's It novel, also incorporating some elements from the book, some story elements that happened before the main events. It's very loosely based on that. So don't expect something that's exactly like that. It's very loosely based. Brings us many new characters, but holy shit, this show is genuinely great. I can say it with full honesty that I recommend It, Welcome to Derry, where Stranger Things just doesn't feel like a threat. It does, you know, no character is safe, and I found myself enjoying it way more than Stranger Things season 5. And I thought the characters and the interactions between characters were more interesting, because Stranger Things season 5 had such a bad dialogue that the Will's coming out scene is just really a culmination of that. Of course, holy shit, the whole season had really bad dialogue, so why would you expect that that particular scene would be good? I thought the only good scene in the entirety of season 5 was Dustin's speech at the end of the school year. Like, that one scene was better than the entire season, to be honest. I love that scene, but it just felt so flat, all of it. Whereas It, Welcome to Derry hits an emotional spot, you root for the characters, and I thought Rich and Margie in It, they were just so cute together, you know? Like, they were adorable, and the culmination of that story is just, I can wholeheartedly recommend that show. And I will wholeheartedly recommend that show. As for Stranger Things, if you have watched it, what are your thoughts? And what are your thoughts on this particular coming out scene? And if you haven't watched it, I really don't recommend it. I think you should skip it and watch something better. Alright, that's enough of me rambling. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great, awesome day, and take care of yourself, enjoy the winter, if there's winter where you live, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. I don't know when, but I will. Will Byer. Ciao.